Well, we want to show you the true motor of human history, of the peopling of the whole world. So we have, since millions of years, two basins. This is the Atlantic basin, and this is the Pacific basin. The Pacific basin is roughly half of our planet. So circumference of our planet is 40,000 kilometers. So this basin is roughly 20,000 kilometers wide, half of the planet. This basin is relatively short, close. The continents are close. South America is close to Africa, roughly a few thousand kilometers, certainly less than 5,000 kilometers, and this is roughly 20,000 kilometers, 4 times more. So both basins, both water bodies have, because of the rotation of the Earth, have this gyre, a northern gyre. The Pacific is also a northern gyre, and a southern gyre. And the Pacific also has a southern gyre. So each gyre, this is probably the best known gyre, or the Gulf Stream is a part of this gyre. It's the warm Gulf Stream, it's red, warm current. Because it comes from the tropics, it is heating since it started in Africa, or it's heating since it was here, but it was still cold, then it got warm, warmer, warmer, and it's the Gulf Stream. It's a warm Gulf Stream. It brings warm water, as you can see, to pretty much all this part of the world. The same thing is these two gyres. In fact, it's the two, this gyre brings to the north, and this gyre brings to the south. This gyre brings to the north as well. This gyre brings to the south. So they moderate the extreme between tropics and poles. So they are important for our climate. And most of all, they are important for Europe, but in fact all this region. And they are very important for all this region. So anyhow, if you find, until this fossil of 1 million years of a human was recognized, because it was found long before, since it was recognized as a human of 1 million years ago, 1 million years out of Africa is roughly 50,000 years, I should say. Because it's a challenge for out of Africa, for consensus, and for this out of Africa 50,000 years ago, or even 80,000 years ago. It's a total challenge. But all these already were challenged by Mungo Lake fossil that presents a human here in this tip of Australia of over 50,000 years ago. It is a challenge. This was already a challenge. 60,000, 50,000 years ago already was a challenge, because how would you get from sub-Saharan Africa to Australia? Well, you could walk more or less until here. We don't believe at all that the peopling of the world was by walking. That's why exactly the reason why we show the currents, because in roughly 40 days, this current will bring you to the European facades, roughly, probably more. In 40 days, why would you bother to walk? You're in 40 days from the Americas to Europe and Africa, and why would you walk from Africa to anywhere else, even if that was a probability? Why would someone be so stupid to walk when you are carried by currents in 40 days? Since this is much bigger gyre, to get even here, that's not even Australia, that's not China, and you would do it without additional rowing or sailing, you would take 100 days, not 30 plus days. It would take 100 plus days. But if you can row, if you have a team that rows, or you have can combine it with sailing, you can shorten that up quite a bit. So why would you even bother to walk from Africa to North or South America when you can get there just by drifting? And it's not just drifting, it's drifting in a food source. And it's drifting in currents that transport more water. Each of these gyres transports more water round and round across the Atlantic, round and round across the Pacific. And each of these gyres transports more than all the rivers of the world combined, each of them. So that's quite impressive. That's at least 4 times this transport of all the rivers combined of the world, including the massive Amazon River. Okay, so Stefan Milo, in fact all, but Stefan Milo made videos about it. The weird arrival in the steppe of Australia, and it's really weird. That's not the title of his video. His video is something weird and Africa, or weird and out of Africa. But in fact, it is the weird arrival of humans 50, 60,000 years ago in this most extreme tip of Australia that is exposed to this current. The same for China, this weird far eastern part of Eurasia that is exposed to this current. In fact, to most easily to this Japan Kuroshio current. And in the case of Australia, to this East Australia current. You see, you land there. If you cannot navigate, if you don't have a rudder, or if you prefer not to use it because it will slow you down, then you will land exactly where this weird arrival happened. The same for this North Pacific gyre. If you do not use your rudder, you will land in China. And that's where other weird things occur, like Mongolia. You have the Ogic Nation culture, or a similar industry, like they call it. And Ogic Nation is, according to some at least, 47,000 years ago to 41,000 years ago. So that's much more even than this 50 to 16,000 years ago in Mungo Lake. But now, the same for a modern human skeleton, dated 1 million year old at least. So where does consensus with this out of sub-Saharan Africa stands? Well, it doesn't stand strong, does it? Because they land first here, or anywhere in this region, or land first here. Let's say this region, because it's rather difficult to cross this, let's call it a peninsula, but it's a continental scale peninsula of Eurasia, especially during the ice ages. So from here you can cross it, because instead of landing here you can follow it through. It are very commercial routes today. You can follow it through, and where will you end? You will end in Africa, and in this part of Africa. And that's where the oldest humans were found. Except, in this case, it's not accepted as a modern human, as far as I know. What is accepted as I think surprisingly is accepted as a modern human, is Jebel Ayrut fossils in Morocco. That's the same thing. They can come directly from the Americas. The Americas will throw everything that floats on Morocco. So funny, that these arrivals in Africa, first it was here, the oldest one, that it's exactly where the currents will throw it. Exactly where the currents throw it exactly where the currents throw it, and exactly where the currents throw it. It, everything that floats. So, so what has all this to do with Stefan Milo and his public, the general public that watches Stefan Milo, or rather Stefan Milo's videos? So, Stefan Milo called this a weird arrival from Africa in Australia, much too early. And Stefan Milo made another video about things that kept him awake. Did Neanderthals, that according to consensus are linked to this part of the world, did they arrive in North America? So did they walk from Europe to Asia and over Beringia? That's probably the question he asks, but it's more open. It's, did these Neanderthals arrive in North America? Well, they probably didn't. Why are we talking about Neanderthals? That's because that's a consensus thing. They are key, they are essential in consensus. But you should not say, when you see something that is similar to Neanderthals, you should not say it's Neanderthals. You should say something similar to Neanderthals. And we know that Denisovans are similar to Neanderthals. So it would make more sense, did Denisovans arrive in North America? But that doesn't fit consensus. And Stefan Milo, at least until now, is supporting consensus. There's nothing that indicates that he is not supporting consensus. But he is kept awake at night. Did Neanderthals arrive in North America? Why does he ask North America? That's because he has a video about Neanderthals in North America messing up a mastodon. I think it's over 100,000 years ago. So if something is messing up mastodons 100,000 years ago or more, then it's not sapiens, because consensus tells us that sapiens, well, I don't even like to use sapiens because in fact it does not exist. It's modern humans. Modern humans were not there because consensus tells us that they only arrived some 30,000 years ago. So, something capable, with capabilities of modern humans messed up a mastodon 100,000 years ago. So the question should be open, but his question is not open. He's limiting to Neanderthals, while he doesn't even see who messed up this mastodon. And there's more evidence, but he has a video about capable human-like procedures on a mastodon. So okay, so you can notice now we're here. Stefan Milo was here. Probably will have soon, or already has, a video about this 1 million year old human in Asia, in China. But he has a video here, and at least he has much more than that. But weird, he calls it weird. He questions what it could have been. But you should have noticed that, or you could have noticed that Stefan Milo moves things perfectly in consensus. Never ever questions consensus. In fact, he does all the time, because he say this is weird, and it's very weird. He should say that this is even much weirder. I just remember now, I'm not sure if he has a video about it. He, in Java, in the 1800s, people didn't believe in out of Africa. Scientists, the general public, didn't believe in out of Africa. They believed in out of Asia. So we are back to the 1800s, since this recognition of this human of 1 million year old. So we're back to the 1800s, to out of Asia. But is it out of Asia?